Hello everyone, Sriram Kumar here. I have Sudip in front of me, SAP Manager, SAP. And he's from California. I believe just now he had his dinner. It's relaxing. Beautiful Monday evening. And he achieved PMP and again PMI-ACP. So people are looking at, man, did you do two things? Yeah, that too within 2 months of gap, he did both the certification. The beauty here is PMP is so good, broad, it has Agile also. So already you get the taste of Agile there in PMP. Then when you come to ACP, it will start going very deep inside. So you will have idea of PMP, which has Agile, and then you go for ACP, much depther, and you understand more concepts about Agile. So it's good to have two certificates now with the market trend, which makes your profile more high weightage. So first, congratulations, Sudip, this great achievement.
Thank you so much, Sriram. I don't know, I mean, how to start, to be very honest. This is not very usual thing for us, but one thing I can definitely say, Sriram, that without your consistent support, and not only, the entire ShriLearning team.
Yep,
And we'll
team.
talk about Rahul. He's obviously, he has to be there in the discussion, but I think the consistent support, everything, like right from the WhatsApp group, the 10 questions, the everyday one single question, and then the weekend mocks, the 40 questions, everything was, it has an impact, and everybody's getting benefited. So thank you so much again.
Right. Thanks, Sudip, for that recognizing. See, the point here is, as we in the corporate life now, very busy we are, classes happening, we'll forget what happened on the learning process. Only when we have a regular touch point, things gets better. Of course, it has its own time, cost involved. But again, the outcome is good, right? When you are in the class, a Saturday, there is a test, yeah, you have to prepare for it, right? Even if you score high or low, your mind starts working towards it. That's important.
Absolutely.
But somebody has to materialize it. How many people materializing? Question mark. If you have a bunch of people coming for classes, hardly 10% come for the test. It means they say, okay, we'll take later. So that's also there. So I'd appreciate you for materializing it. Here, the certificate. Now, Sudip, you should have two certificates. One is orange, one is purple now.
Yep,
Yeah,
that's correct.
too cool. Yeah. So you put a frame and keep on the wall, telling that, hey guys, I have to.
Yeah, I when I got the first PMP certificate, it was orange color, but I know that I've seen this purple color. Honestly speaking, even I like this color compared to the other one. And I was like, okay, let me try to see how soon I can get this purple certificate.
Good. Fantastic. And did you observe in your PMP certificate that would be Sunil would have signatured as a CEO? I believe so, when you did your
Yes.
PMP. And now Mike DiPresso has become a CEO. So you have two different people. One is in 2021, 2022,
Yes.
but within a month of 2 months of gap. It's so good to see people hitting certificate back to back, that too such a heavy certificates. Somebody watching this video, don't take it for granted. This will be just another easy certificate. No, that's what we're going to talk right now. So Sudip, give a little background. What do you do? What makes you think to get certifications?
So yeah, I have been following you, Sriram, for almost a year. I think I got to know about you last year, around maybe March, April timeframe. Same like some success story I was watching on YouTube, and I got to know about you. And before that, I wanted to, I didn't know much about PMP, to be very honest. The only thing I knew that my senior manager, when he sends an email, on his signature, I see his name, comma, PMP. So initially I used to just, focus on the content of the email, like what he's sending and what action item I have to say and respond to him quickly. But I always used to worry, or used to think about, what is this PMP? Then I asked him once, and he said this is about, when you grow, when you have to grow in your career, these are things that you need to achieve. And that was sometime in 2020, just before the COVID started. Then I was like, okay, how can I achieve this? So I come from an IT background. I have worked in Agile for quite some time. But I felt like, I don't, maybe the way we are working, the way we are doing Agile, it was more of a doing Agile, not being Agile. So I never wanted, I never felt like, we are doing the right way. So I always wanted to learn from some good institute, and do the things which is supposed to be, done in the right way. So that's when, when I got to see your success story, and I said, okay, maybe I should, contact and see what's the best way to start my journey. Initially, I started with PMBOK 6th edition, like I think many people. And I kind of, I started for 2 weeks and I was like, okay, this is not happening. Then I contacted Rahul, and then Rahul shared some information about maybe you should start with Rita. And that's when I started about, okay, Rita, what is this Rita, the 10th edition? And then I started, and the first chapter, the moment I read the first chapter, I felt like this is really engaging, easy to understand, easy to relate with our day-to-day life. And that's how, I felt like this is something I'm doing in my work. That's how I got interest in PMP. And then I attended one of your, I think, initially, I think I attended the October batch last year. And then I understand, okay, this is something really important. I got the entire study plan that you guys provide. And then when I was like, I was so happy that it had 50% agile content. And whenever I see agile, I was like, okay, this is something, since, I have worked on it. But then I knew somewhere that I might have to unlearn few things, because I might have learned or done something not the right way that, people usually are expecting everybody to learn. That's when I said, okay, I picked the Agile Practice Guide. I got all the information. It was very easy for me to understand the concepts, but there are a few things which I was not following the right way. And I think I will take that back now to my corporate, and there are a few things that, I can help them, I think,
Perfect.
to make it perfect, actually, so that's how after I did PMP, I said, I think, I can. And I was already reading Mike Griffith's book during my PMP preparation. I like his book. And I was like, okay, if I can just read this book completely, I finished the first 2 chapters during my PMP exam. But if I finish the remaining 5 more chapters, I think I should be able to at least see whether I'm ready for the ACP exam, right? So that's when I said, okay, after December, let's see if I can do it in January. But then something came up and my work was a little difficult to manage. So then I said, okay, I'll finish it by February. And that's when I joined your batch in January for ACP. It was, again, very engaging. One thing I would say, Sriram, that I joined your PMP batch and I also joined your ACP batch, right? I felt, this is my personal opinion, the ACP batch was even more engaging, because it was a little bit, maybe like 30 or 40 people. Everybody kind of got to know each other more. And after your 3 hours, 4 hour sessions, we were having like additional time, some question answers, and people were more engaging, I felt. So because
Nice.
PMP, you have like what, 100+ people, and it was like, I don't know how you manage so many people, but hats off to you to answer all their questions.
Good to know. Good to hear all. I'm really happy that motivation where you got, having a suffix of PMP in the signature. I think now you add it, right? PMP, comma, PMI, ACP, comma, SAP, all there, HANA. Nice to see. Nice to see. Inspirations are really good. And it's not about seeing the inspiration. Now we have to follow that, right? That's a good thing I heard or seen from you. Very good. Nice. So now what I heard is PMP, when you read, you got 50% of Agile there. Again, you took time to read in for ACP specifically into Agile Practice Guide and Mike Griffith book. When you practice questions, there could be a little difference between what you did in PMP and ACP, right? PMP Agile level will be a little different, whereas here the Agile level can be a little more depth, right? So how do you practice your questions, or how was it with the real exam? We'll understand more on the real exam also.
Okay, so when I was preparing for the PMP, the only book that initially I was reading for Agile was Agile Practice Guide from PMI. And I think that book is really helpful, especially for people who are starting fresh on Agile. I think and also I remember one of your videos that you had, which talks about the differences between this incremental versus Agile versus iterative. That video is like, if anybody has any doubt, they just watch that video and they will be able to understand the difference between these three life cycles. So from then coming back to ACP, when I was, reading the Mike Griffiths book, after the first two chapters, I felt like, the first two chapters was good enough for me during my PMP exam for the Mike Griffith, and the ACP, the Agile Practice Guide, was good enough for PMP. But then when it comes to ACP exam, I felt that obviously I have to complete all the 7 domains, which Mike Griffith has, laid out in 7 different chapters in the book. So it's much, you feel like you just read one book and the syllabus is kind of laid out. You don't have to necessarily, think of reading multiple books as you see in
Right.
PMI website. They have like 12 references.
Mm.
Um, but one thing I felt like when I was giving mocks in ShriLearning, mock exams, there were some additional books like I always forget that guy's name, Mike Cohn.
Mike Cohen. Yeah, you're right. Mike
Cohn.
Cohen. Mm.
His book is good, but
The
it's a
tough.
little bit, sometimes not very. Now you have to read multiple times to understand what
Still, you
exactly
won't
he's
get it.
trying. Yeah. Um, but I don't think you really have to go deep,
Yeah. Right.
like you suggested. I think Agile Practice Guide, Mike Griffith, and then the
Mm.
Scrum Guide.
Right.
Those 3 should be good enough for you, and
Sufficient.
then yeah.
Right. Got it. Got it. So you went center based in California, or it is home?
No, all my exams were from home
Very good.
because all the centers that we tried, either they were not available
Mm.
on those days where I am available,
Mm.
or the timings were not matching.
Matching. Okay. Okay.
So I'm pretty comfortable now. I have a
Okay.
dedicated desk for giving exams. So, so
Because people have this worry. If I go to home-based exam, rules will be very strict. I can't move here, move there. I know this ACP exam don't have any break. Continuous 3 hours, it's going to happen. Any tips you want to give for the people who take from home? What they have to have in their mind?
honestly speaking, the check-in process, and there was no hiccups for me and my wife also. She took it this Saturday, the PMP. There was no hiccups. You just have to understand that somebody is looking at you all the time. Some people don't feel comfortable with that, but if you are okay with that, then it's fine. The only thing is you just have to keep your room clean, your desk clean, and just I had a anxious feeling that maybe I have a problem or something. Like I sometimes mumble while reading the questions. They might just say, hey, you're not allowed to do that. But I never felt, no, nobody actually
Okay,
stopped me for that,
that's
so
good.
it
That's
was
good.
pretty smooth.
Okay, that gives confidence for the people taking it home. While you're saying that, you mentioned your wife took PMP. I know that husband and wife doing same time in some certifications. In home, do you people in the dinner table have some conversation about management?
Yeah, we used to have, this ACP, we have this constructive disagreement. So we used to have constructive disagreement sometimes. Sometimes we used to say that, okay, I think this is how we should look at it. This is how the questions would be. And most of the time, we never used to agree. Um, but those were good. On the holistic view, I feel like those were good discussions because that helped us
Okay.
to think broader.
All right.
Um,
All
so
right.
yeah.
Got it. Got it. I think she cleared 3 days back, right? PMP?
Yeah, the same day. So my ACP exam was at
Ah,
1:30 p.m.
right,
scheduled, and
right.
hers was 1:45 p.m., the PMP. So I finished at
Different
4:30,
rooms. You guys are
different
sitting in
rooms.
different rooms.
Yeah, different rooms. And then, when she was taking the mock, one and before the actual exam, she was taking the full mock, and I was sitting somewhere, and I had to use the restroom. And then she said, "Hey, you are making too much noise using the restroom. Don't don't use." So what I did, I knew that my ACP exam will be over soon because it's 3 hours, right?
Right.
So I finished, and then I came down, and I was just sitting in one corner till she finishes her PMP. Because I don't, because the houses here are a little bit like all wooden, I think.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
even small, and you don't hear all those background, like traffic noise and all. It's very quiet. So the
Right.
moment you make little bit of noise, I think you get
It's still
distracted.
audible, listenable. Yeah,
Yeah,
understand.
yeah.
That's interesting, man. Interesting. Home, two people at the same time, huh? But did you hear her voice once she cleared? Yeah, right? Did you hear that?
I was on my earphones listening to something, so I didn't know when she finished, but I was waiting. She said, "Just wait, I will come down after I'm done with my exam."
Okay.
So after, I knew approximately what time she should be done with her exam because
Nice,
it's
nice,
4 hours, right? So
nice.
then she came down, and then she waved, "Hey, I cleared, I got the congratulations." Then I said, "Okay, good." And then she's like, "What happened to you?" And I said, "Yeah, I also cleared, so that was good."
Wow. That's good, man. It's
So
party time, both of you, huh? With the PMI content. Nice to see. Good. Good wishes to your wife for clearing that exam. Okay.
thank you, Sriram.
All right, great. So now if you want to give some tips to the people who are preparing for PMI, ACP, Agile certification, there are people with Agile knowledge, people without Agile knowledge, both are coming. If I take ACP exam 2 to 3 years back, classes, I'll see only IT people come. Now, after PMI, PMP focus more with the predictive and adaptive. Now, non-agile industry slowly moving towards agile, even though
Mhm.
they don't follow all the Scrum, Kanban, not need to follow, but at least they want to know the essence of what is actually agile. What do you mean by that? They want to learn it. So, if
Mhm.
somebody listening to your video now, maybe there are agile people or non-agile people, what is your tips for them to prepare?
So for the ACP exam, what I felt, Sriram, um, uh, one good thing is at least you don't have to study a lot because you have a good book, a good standard book for Mike Griffith. And the way it is laid out, it will cover all the 7 domains that is laid out in the exam content outline for ACP. And then you have the Agile Practice Guide and the Scrum Guide. Those 3 should be good enough for you to prepare. And obviously your suggestions. And then comes the most important part, which is the simulator or the mock exams. I felt this is my, and even this is because I took both PMP and ACP. I felt your ShriLearning's content for practice exams for ACP is more than enough to be prepared for the ACP exam. The reason I'm saying is it's the real exam that I felt was a little bit, I would say, challenging, because I would, I have, I used to share my scores with you, right, for my mocks, and so I used to get pretty decent score for both ShriLearning and other simulators that I had, and I used to finish everything by within like 2 hours. Not that I used to rush. It's just that maybe I got a habit of how to eliminate the wrong answers. I got that knack, so I used to finish everything by between 2 hours or 2.5 hours max. But when I took the actual exam, you won't believe I had maybe 10 minutes left, and I had 10 questions marked for review.
Ah.
So, um, but the first 20-25 questions, I was really going slow for the ACP exam. And then I realized that there is no point in really going back and forth with these questions, because those were little, it was like I was I was thinking of that one success story I was hearing from one of your students, I think her name is Alex, from I think December or October batch, and she was also, she also was getting 90, 95 in her
Yeah.
mocks, but
Yeah.
then she felt like, am I in the PMI ACP exam when when she took the actual test? Even
Yeah.
I initially, the first 25 question, I was like, am I actually in this? Because some of the questions were not, I couldn't find a single word in the question which
Mm.
talks about like anything to do with agile, like you are
Mm.
in an agile project or something which will say this is an agile, right? It was like
Mm.
just a question. At that point in time, Srinam, I remember in the class you mentioned one feedback. I think when you took the exam way back, I don't remember the year. I think you had some health issues or family issues, but you went, and the approach that you had, that I have been given a problem and I will be solving. I will be trying to solve it.
Right.
That's the same approach I took after the 25th fifth question. I said, this is not, there's no point in keep on flagging all the questions. I just
Right.
have to have a mindset that I have to kind of solve the problems that they're giving to me. Let me
Exactly.
try to understand. So that's how I went, and I slowly went one after the other, and I knew that I have 10 minutes left. I was not panicking. I was
Mhm.
just making sure that I have enough time to review those 10 questions or 10 or 11 questions I had.
Mm.
And then I think after like I had like 5 minutes left, I finished the review, and then that like the notification came on the screen saying you are left with 5 minutes. Just the color change and all that. And one suggestion that I wanted to give to the entire group, and I don't know whether anybody shared this. This is something my wife figured it out before her PMI exam, PMP exam. So on the the font size of the question,
Mm.
um, at least for me, I felt like if they could have made it a little bigger, it would have been helpful.
Okay.
I didn't know how to make it bigger
Got it.
during my PMP exam when I took in December. But
Uh-huh.
she said she found in PMI website there is a message that they have. If
Mm.
you want to increase the font,
Uh.
you can press Control and plus on your keyboard on a
Oh.
Windows laptop, and on a
Oh.
Mac you can do Command and plus. And the moment you do that, the screen, the font will increase, and it will be so clear and it will be easy to read.
Oh.
Nothing else will change. You will have the next button at the same place.
Okay. 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 Only the font will increase. The page will be the
Only the
same.
font will exist. The page will be the same.
Acha, acha, acha.
So
That's nice.
that was so helpful.
Control plus. Okay.
Yeah,
That's
Control plus on Windows and Command plus
that's
on Mac.
on a Mac. Okay. That's a good message. Huh? Right.
Yeah, I don't know where how she found that, but she said it's in the PMI website itself.
Cool, right? So
Um,
she overtook you with
oh, I tell you, Shina, she's more analytical. She thinks logically, and she has, I think
good.
she's much better in that
Nice,
management.
nice, nice, nice. There's a valuable tip. It will be helpful for people around. Okay, nice, good, good. Any more tips you want to share?
Yeah, so for ACP, anybody who are preparing right now, I know a lot of my batchmates for the January batch, they're also preparing. I see Deepika, I don't know how she manages that consistency. Every day she writes. That is really helpful. I mean, I also write, but I sometimes I don't share it on the with WhatsApp. But I'm not that consistent like Deepika. She's like every day. My wife knows like, okay, at 8 o'clock my time, you will get a message on my WhatsApp, like all this, whatever she writes. So that's a good habit. If somebody can do that consistently, it's
Right.
really helpful. And I would suggest that whatever exam simulator you take, whatever scores you're getting, just have an open mindset, because when you are actually in the I felt comparatively from PMP, ACP was little tough, little more challenging. The reason
Mm.
I'm saying, the questions were not big. The
Mm.
questions were much bigger and lengthier in PMP compared to ACP, but the answer options
Uh-huh.
were like 3-4 sentence separated by commas. So like
Oh.
those were the, and then the first portion of the answer might be looking more like, okay, this is correct, but the second portion of the answer was like, oh, that's not how it should be. So you're like constantly,
Yeah.
kind of trying your best to eliminate which is the wrong one.
Wow.
Um, so,
Mm.
so I mean, I really want to say that, people should have a very open mindset, follow that feedback that Sriram shared, that think like you are being presented as a problem and you
Mm.
have to solve it from your mindset. Like
Right.
if you were at that position, what you would have done? In PMP, Shriram, most of the questions are like as if like you are a project manager or you are a
Mm.
scrum master or you are like, mostly it would be like a project manager, what you would have done.
Mm. Mm.
Here, it's like a mix. You can be a product owner, you can be a team member, it can be just some questions. I think it was not even, they just say what should be done, what should have been done.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
they are not specifically saying a role here.
All right. All right. I think
Um,
that makes exam a little tougher. Mm.
yeah.
Got you. Got you.
Um,
Those are valuable inputs. Superb. Superb. Great. Thanks, Sudip, for coming up here. And it's so valuable inputs from you. What books to read, how to think in the exam hall, specifically how to increase the font size. Huh? Those things are a very helpful one. And also you being inspiration to many people as you cleared PMP within 2 months, again ACP, and your wife done PMP. The whole family is now on the PMI industry. Huh? Learn a lot of factors there. Really interesting. So I want to thank you for coming up here, giving this wonderful information.
And I just want to say thank you, Shriram. I know I have not got a chance to talk about Rahul.
Ah,
Just I want to take a couple of seconds.
sure.
He has been really, I'm sure, I have listened to so many success stories. Everybody has talked about Rahul like a bot. I think the entire ShriLearning team has been really, really impactful. You guys are doing an absolute amazing job. I don't know how you guys, do it, because every month I see you have a class, either PMP and PMP you have every month. I think ACP you have every other month, and then you have SAFE, you have other career counseling classes. So it's like a community service, and this kind of service is being looked upon, especially in this part of the world, as a very valuable service. Like in the US, a lot of voluntary work has been appreciated. So
Great,
it's really nice, and
great, great.
very, very thankful to the entire ShriLearning team.
Thanks, Sudip, for that kind words. And again, where our intention is to make all top 2%. Huh? Somebody questioned me, how many people will come? Top 2 will become top 4. So keep up the learning process, and thanks for utilizing the support available, because there are many people, even though support available, they take it for let's do later, right? But somebody has to use it. That's very important. Super good. So keep up the good work and apply what you learn. That's a key thing I keep telling. Certification is a paper if not applied. If you apply, that becomes a beautiful certificate, right? So
Definitely.
that is the industry where you are, there is the highest demand of a quality leadership and management. Very good.
Definitely. When I shared about my PMP scores and my, my journey along with my leadership in the firm, it was so welcoming, and they all encouraged so much.
Nice.
So I really felt the importance of this certificate. I think more than the certificate, the journey, the interaction,
Mm,
and the learning. And
mm.
that's why even if I had a little bit of agile experience, I really wanted to go deep, because I wanted to learn the
All right.
right way. And
All right.
thanks to all your hard
Yeah,
work,
yeah.
Shriram.
See, what you said is right. Your approach will change. The way you look things, the way you communicate, the way you debate will be very productive debate. You will
Right,
not just debate because you want to protect your name. You
right,
will debate for which is good for the organization. So
right.
now people see you, this guy is adding value. Nothing personal here. It's about benefit for adding value, right? That's a point.
Yep.
Superb, superb. Okay, keep winning more. And all the viewers, thanks for watching this video. And give your likes and comments for Sudip, because he cleared PMP, ACP, and his wife is PMP. Maybe you can ask some questions with him in your comment section, where he'll be happy to support, because sitting in California, sitting as a SAP manager, learning all these things, they do have a busy schedule, but able to allocate time and do that. So some tips from them will definitely help you, right? Good wishes, Sudip. Keep rocking. Thanks for being here.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Shriram.